Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Tuesday, March the 27th, 2018. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. We do create multiple hypotheses. That's because we do not know what the market's going to do. So therefore, we create two main hypotheses, Hypo 1 and Hypo 2, which outline our day depending on who takes control, the buyers or sellers. And then we have our Hypo 3 and our Hypo 4, which are our alternative hypos, which deal with range expansion and trending type scenarios. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website, there's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to. Then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the trading day. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. Okay, let's take a look at yesterday. Yesterday, we were looking for a rotational day. We were looking for an open auction in range, looking for a move up to the upper distribution and then a rotation down into the lower distribution and chop down there. That was Hypo 1. Hypo 2 was the opposite, which was a move down into this distribution, find buyers, move up and chop. And in the upside part of the distribution, the upper distribution, but we were looking for an inside day. For the most part, we did get the inside day, except that they made the break at the end of the day. We did break the IB to the low side and the IB to the upside. We were talking about the neutral possibilities right about here when we were starting to look for the neutral day. And then when we got into the 44 area after the break, we were looking for the neutral extreme up into that 58.75 target that I posted, which is basically a move to test the high of the day. And then we got a little bit of a stop run up to the 62.75 and got the VPOC shifted into the close. We closed near the high of the day, so we had a neutral extreme. So we were looking for continuation in the Globex of the move up on the extreme close. And so far, we did get that that expansion we were talking about. We were targeting the 70, which was the 50% of the significant breakdown candle that we'll talk about in just a few minutes, with the possibility of testing the year open. Remember that our year open is at 26.75.75. So currently we're trading just under that level. Quick look at the news. We have Redbook coming out in 5 minutes, not really a market mover. 10 minutes, we've got the CS HPI composite. But the big news today will be at 10 o'clock, and that's when we get the CB consumer confidence and the Richmond manufacturing, Richmond service index, and then at 10:30 we get the Dallas Fed revenues and the Texas services sector's outlook. And then 11 o'clock we've got Bostic speaking from the Fed. 11:30 we've got the 4-week and the 52-week note auction. 1 o'clock we've got the 5-year note, and at 1:30 we've got the API weekly crude. So quite a bit of scheduled news. Now, of course, we've got a lot of headline news. We got the whole deal going on with Russia right now in terms of the poisoning in England, and now all the sanctions and the expulsions and their reaction. We've got rumors that North Korean leader is in China for secret meetings. We've got the whole stormy weather and Trump, and so there's lots of headline news to go along with the scheduled news. So just be careful. these moves, especially with the volatility as it is and the average rotations, moves can come out of nowhere, and you just don't want to get caught in one. But the big news today will be at 10 o'clock. That's when I'm expecting the biggest reaction from scheduled news. Taking a look at the macro to micro, I always do the same thing every day. I look at a simple candlestick chart. I start with a monthly. I work my way down, you know, in time frame. And what am I doing this for? I'm doing this to remind me where we are in the trend in terms of the larger time frames down. And it keeps me grounded because everybody was all the talking heads talking about the market was falling over and was about to crash and the whole 9 yards. And when you look at the monthly, it's not even violating the trend. It came down and challenged the trend against the 9, but it didn't even get down to a possibility of breaking the trend. Are we seeing some weakness after 14 months of one time framing up? Absolutely. We broke the one time framing in February, and we're so far getting an inside month. So we are seeing some weakness, but this can bounce us up just as much as it can bounce down. And we do have a lot of repair work above to do, as well as what we've seen in terms of repair work down in the downside. On the weekly, though, we do have a break of the trend. We are below the 9 and the 20, so we do have a possible trend change. We're in a consolidation here on the weekly, but we are seeing weakness coming in on the weekly. On the daily, we do have the start of a downward trend. We've got slope and separation to the downside. Watching the 85.75, if we get above that, then we could get a run up into the 2700. And I want to point this out because I had a conversation with this with somebody earlier today. Is that don't forget that our full session daily average true range is running at 45.5 points. In fact, we had a 71.75 point day yesterday. So our upside daily ATR target is actually up at the 27.02 1/4. That means that we have room today without getting outside of the current daily average range of getting into the 2700s. Don't forget that. We also have the capability of getting down to the lower 60s or 2600s because our downside daily ATR target based on a 20 period is at 26.3425. So we have a range capability within that 45 points of hitting 26.34 or 27.02 based on where we've traded the high and the low overnight so far. So just keep that in mind. Moving to the intraday, going to the 4-hour, you can see that we are starting to trend up. We do have a naked cross down here at the 26.51. It wouldn't surprise me if they made a move back into yesterday's range and tested. Well, I'll show you when we get to the big picture. Going to the 30-minute, you can see that this trend that we've seen from yesterday and moving up is starting to break down, and we do have some weakness coming in. Let's look at the overnight. We were talking about the fact that we were looking for the expansion because of the neutral extreme and the VPOC shift up at the close and closing near the highs. We opened auction. We tried to break out. We only got to 63.25, so it was false breakout. They rotated back down to the 25.5650. Nice little Mr. Sneaky right there. Led the way of the turn, and then we get our breakout. And we go and we hit our target, which was this 2670. That is the 50% of the significant breakdown candle from where we were trying to hold after the highs. Then we chopped around that number, pushed up into the naked VPOC, up at 2678.50, got above the year open at 75.75. Then we came down, beautiful VWAP to VPOC trade, and then basically we've been chopping up in the near the year open, and just lately we've come back down, and we're coming back towards the range high from the prior night, and right now testing the mid of the overnight inventory. So the overnight inventory is basically about I'd say 90% net long in time and in volume. We had 194,000, so slightly larger, about 2 times the average volume for the Globex. We have seen OTF pop in here in the European session. Just let me expand this out so you can see this. We had some OTF early in the Asian session, and then we had OTF participation pretty much throughout the European session. And the European session is continuing to sell this off. So taking a look at the big picture structure. So we had this balancing here back in back in October of last year, October, November, and December. Then we based there. We accepted price around the 85.50. They gapped up, broke out of value, and then we had this nice run up into the new all-time highs. Also remember that we have unequalized all-time high. The RTH all-time high is 28.80 and a quarter, but the actual all-time high is 28.83 and a quarter put in the Globex. So that gives us an unequalized all-time high. This is very rare to have this left open like this. And then we tried to hold value right here at the 28.33, and then we gapped down. We had the significant breakdown candle, okay, where we fell out of balance. The 50% of that candle is at 27.70. Fell down, went all the way down to this former microcomposite VPOC at 25.35 and a quarter. That actually dipped down to 25.29 in the Globex. Found our buyers, rotated us back up into this balance area, created balance around the 27.18 area, and then we tried to hold that value. After we tried to break out above, we came back down, and then we tried to hold that there, gap down, and then we had those 2 big days down, and then yesterday we took more than half of it back, and we came up and hit the 50% of the significant breakout candle in the Globex session overnight, and we're currently trading above yesterday's range high. So key levels to pay attention to here in the bigger picture. Obviously, the year open and the microcomposite value area low is sitting at 75, 75, and 76 and a quarter. That's going to be a very key level for us today if we could get above that. And that's going to be basically my key line in the sand above. We want to pay attention to the range high from yesterday at 62.75. We actually have some TPO singles that are still below us, and they remain open until we get back down to those levels. And one of them is right here at the 26.63. Which we missed on the way up yesterday. Then we have another one down here at 54 and a quarter and 49. If we come down and get inside of yesterday's range, these are going to be key targets for us today below as we come back in and repair the auction that we moved through, both quickly on the downside and quickly on the upside. So just keep the 54 and a quarter and 49 as major targets below today. So inside we've got to watch those 2 TPOs. Obviously we want to watch the 59.25 area, and then the 3-day micro composite VPOC is sitting at 44.75. So again, if we get back into balance, look for them to move, back down towards this 3-day micro composite VPOC. So moving our numbers, I've moved most of the numbers over already over and set my levels up. We've got the overnight low down at 26.56.75. We've got the overnight high up at the 26.79.75. Our year open at 75.75. That is the full session year open. And when I talk about year opens, I don't look at adjusted year opens. I look at actually what was the price, because that's the psychological price that people are looking at in terms of whether or not we have a bearish or a bullish year. I know it's been adjusted by multiple contracts, but I do look at the actual. And then our over-under line, which is that micro composite value area low. And then our 50% of the significant breakout candle has not been visited yet in the RTH session, so that's still open at 26.70. We still have the naked VPOC open at 26.78. And of course, then we have our naked VPOC at 69.50 and our naked close at 26.60.50. So what are my hypotheses for the day? I think that we found some support, but we have some balancing out to do in the Globex, from the Globex, I should say. So I'm looking for an open auction out of range. I'm looking for a move down into the prior day range at 59.50 down to possibly the 54. And I'm looking for responsive buyers to step in, rotate us up through, tagging the 70 and pushing up into testing the year open. And then I'm expecting us to go sideways up here near the year open between the 75 and the 85 area and go sideways as a rotational day after a big take back day. That is hypo 1. Hypo 2 is an open auction out of range. Failure to take out the overnight high. Come up and test the year open, find responsive sellers, rotate us down into yesterday's upper distribution, chop around the 59 to 56, then fail and come down here and take out the 54.25 and 49 TPO, come back down into the 44 and chop in this area, maybe even a probe down into the 34, but basically finding a base here, working our way up and coming up and closing somewhere in the 49 to 59 area as we go sideways. We are going to open in a gap. It's not going to be a big gap, so there are gap rules, and we could look for a gap and go. So I'm looking for an open drive or an open test drive, either testing the 62.75, taking out that TPO single at 63, or just a quick dip in, but finding buyers very strong early, coming up into the overnight high and the 70 area, chop up here, and then can get continuation and come up here into this the bottom, I should say, of this gap zone at 98, chop in this area, and then push through into the mid of the gap and testing the daily upside ATR target. That is hypo 3. Hypo 4 typically is a breakdown day, a open auction, failure to get above the year open, strong move down into the 44.75, fail down there, push down through to the 34, chop in this area around the mid and the open of the RTH session yesterday, and then push down into the 26.14, and then basing from there and working our way back up and closing somewhere in the 34 to 44 area, back up inside of that 3-day balance. So those are my 3 main hypotheses. Gold has rolled today, so I've rolled gold. We did go up and hit that. We missed that target by my gold charts haven't completely broken yet, so just bear with me. Because I've got some mixed data. But we were looking for that. If you remember, go back to the last 4 or 5 videos. We were waiting for the breakout down here. I was looking for the breakout to move to the upside, and the main target above was the 57. And we got to 56.80 in the April contract last night and have come off some. But I still need to adjust the chart. I have to wait for the start of the RTH session. It's just a weird thing with DTN. Just get mixed data until the actual RTH open. So I won't be trading gold regardless today, simply because it is rollover and my data wasn't completely set up to get ready to trade today for gold. Trading at 66.50. Remember, looking for a move down into the to the gap zone and below as my hypo one. All right, that's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.